from the Master Assassin, do you think AC Mirage will save the franchise?
Let's think about this, right? Bethesda Game Studios, the developers of the Elder Scrolls, they were going pretty much bankrupt back in the day, right? They didn't know, they thought that they were going to fully go bankrupt. Yeah, they were going to go bankrupt, and then they released Morrowind. They were like, you know what? We're going to go bankrupt. We might as well make a good game.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will do well. Who knows? They make Morrowind. It goes crazy. It saves them. That saves not the franchise, but it saves the company. And then obviously from there, I'm sure passion led them to carry on making games in that series, but it was also financial stuff. It was like, okay, I'm going to keep making games like that. So there's somebody like that to look at. And if you look at Ubisoft, you know, in their mind, the franchise doesn't probably need saving. In their mind, they may, you know, that was like a news article a while ago saying that Valhalla was the most successful Assassin's Creed game of all time.
Yeah.
Sales-wise. So, sorry. So it's, to them, why would they need to really change things up? So what I think Mirage is more like, it's kind of maybe it's an experiment to see if it actually does get a better reception than something like Valhalla, because it's more to do with the assassins. It's more like the older games, to maybe test the waters to see if that old fan base, as vocal as they seem to be, will they actually buy the game? Will what people say come into practice, I suppose, when they say the older games were better. As well as that, I feel like originally it was meant to be a DLC for Valhalla. It ended up becoming a fully fledged game as the development process went along. So, you know, because it was a smaller thing, I feel like they had more, to them, they had more sort of, what's the word? I don't know the word. They had like more leeway within the company maybe to be like, okay, well we can make a game a bit like the older ones and see, because it was a smaller thing, less development time, stuff like that. And obviously we know AC Infinity, the live service, which is going to host all future games. I mean, there have been rumours that it will be, Mirage will be the first game, but I'm not too sure. We don't know if that's the case yet or not really. So for the sake of what we already know, let's just say the game after Mirage, Codename Red, is going to be the first on the Infinity service and etc. We know Codename Red is going to be less of a traditional AC like Mirage is saying it's going to be. It's going to be a little bit more like the RPG stuff, and we've been told that it is going to be in the RPG style. So it all banks on whether AC Mirage is good at the end of the day, I think now, because if it performs amazingly, sells so well, does really good, they're going to be like, shit, well, we need to make more like the older games. They were right. People like me were right.
Yeah.
And then they will, and then technically, yeah, maybe it will save the franchise because, or the way we see it, it might save the franchise because then we'll get more like kind of what we liked in the first place. But if the writing kind of just completely misunderstands what Assassin's Creed was built upon and doesn't really go into that stuff, and it just kind of has the aesthetic of an Assassin's Creed game, and that's kind of it, then, you know, the older fans like myself are going to see that, and they're just not going to be as interested as the older games, in which case, you know, who are you appealing to? You've let the older fans down, and then the newer fans that like the RPG stuff aren't getting that either, so then it doesn't really work with anyone, and that's the kind of the main worry, because if that's the case, they don't make it like a traditional AC, and what we know to be a traditional AC, with the writing, the sort of the depth on which the characters progress and evolve, along with the modern day stuff, you know, along with the whole Assassin's Templar conflict, and that being the forefront. If they miss the mark on that, as I said, they're going to lose appeal to people like us who they're trying to appeal to get back on board. They're not going to probably appeal as much to the newer fans that like the RPG stuff. As I said, I feel like I'm repeating myself now, but like, who are you going to impress? If the game then performs badly, they're just probably going to double down on the RPG stuff, because they're going to be like, well, didn't do well, people love the RPG stuff, and then it will just be a one-off where it kind of didn't appeal to anyone, they carry on with the RPG stuff. So, sorry, I'll just finish my point and then I'll give you the reins. So, to finish what I was saying, it could save the franchise in a way that people see it that way, or it could just be a one-off that maybe wasn't that good and then it moves on. So it really banks on whether it really does, the writers really do understand what Assassin's Creed really was. It wasn't just hoods, it wasn't just a hidden blade, it was, you know, a character who is fighting, who has dedicated his life to this fight. Why has he done that? And what are these mysterious people in the background that came from years before? And it's in a simulation. There's this guy in modern day, and it parallels, and what's going on with the mystery. That, you know, it's all of that. If they kind of miss the mark on that, or it fails to be executed properly, then I don't think it will, as we said, save the franchise. So that's what I have to say about that. Cam?
You were saying about how Valhalla is, so say, like, their best-selling game yet, was it? Or
I mean, I did read that, like,
recent years?
I read it like a year ago. I don't know if it is still, but it performed really well, let's just say.
It's a difficult thing. We got to kind of separate the ideas sometimes of, like, being a cult success and being a financial success.
Yeah.
Sometimes something can sell amazingly, but also, like, have a really shite reception.
I mean, yeah.
Do you remember there was a game a couple of years ago that was all based in space, and you could go to different planets? And you
No
could
Man's Sky?
No Man's Sky. It could be a No Man's Sky story. We never know. Like,
yeah, I mean, No Man's Sky is a whole other story. When you say bait, do you mean like promising to be one thing and not delivering?
Possibly.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, if they're promising an Assassin's Creed story, but, you know, again, do they understand what that actually means, or are they just going to let you play as an assassin and it goes off and it doesn't really do what it used to do? The thing with No Man's Sky, it was a game that could be sort of always evolving, being able to update it. This is just a one-off single-player game. I think when they've done with it, they might release some patches here and there to fix bugs, because it's probably going to be quite a few bugs. But they can't change the story. The story is written, it's done. You can't change that, you know?
Yeah.
So no, if it misses the mark, that's it. You know, it misses the mark.
Do you think that'll be the nail in the coffin then, if it misses?
You mean for everyone, or just for me?
For Assassin's Creed, do you think that'll?
Nah, I think it will.
If they fuck up, that'll do you think that'll be a write-off for the core fans? Do you think they'll give up the hope?
No, because it's such a divided community now. You know, with the RPG fans, that's a lot of people. So if Mirage fails, you know, I don't think it will matter for people like that, and a lot of the most recent games strive or selling to those people. So if Mirage fails to them, I think that's why they're doing it. It's not much. It's low risk, high reward for Ubisoft with Mirage, because if it fails, they're still going to make a ton of money because it's got the Assassin's Creed title on it. Sorry, the coke's giving me indigestion. Like, but and if the RPG fans don't like it, that's fine. A year later, they're getting Codename Red, and they're going to be happy. So Assassin's Creed will continue to be a success, I'm sure, unless they run the RPG route into the ground with that somehow. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the
all speculation at the moment, all up in the air, you know.